I guess I relate to it because if there were ever anything close to being real, like something like the ability to shine, I have it. Hello, my name is James and welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is a movie review for Dr. Sleep. Yes, they had some advanced screenings that I went out and saw for Dr. Sleep. This is a sequel to The Shining, that Jack Nicholson movie by Kubrick. And the synopsis briefly reads, years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance meets a young girl with similar powers, and he tries to protect her from the cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers to remain immortal. Now, that's an interesting synopsis. It's not really clear if it defines exactly who the bad guys are. No. Okay, so the True Knot, the bad guys, it's this cult led by somebody called Rose the Hat, played by Rebecca Ferguson, and she does a fantastic job in this. The movie is directed by Mike Flanagan and stars Ewan McGregor as Danny Torrance, the older Danny Torrance. And as I said, Rebecca Ferguson does a fantastic job as Rose the Hat. This did crack my top 5 movies of the year, and I'll let you know that at the end of this review where exactly it placed on my top 5, because the top 5 right now, it looks pretty solid. I'm pretty sure I think you can figure out where it's going to go. But I'll let you think about that as I talk about this movie, because I was kind of actually a little bit traumatized, not to the sense that I was like sleepless or anything like that. It was kind of like, ooh, wow. And then I was thinking about it, well, why do I feel like this? Because it's a movie about a cult that eats in the way that they eat these people who shine is pretty gruesome. You know, I did some trailer reactions to this, building up to the anticipation of this movie. And in it, I was kind of like, I like this idea. I like the premise of this, that there's this cult going around. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, they obviously kill them, but do they eat them? Like, it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. And if you are curious about those trailer reactions, I'll leave a link to those up in the cards above. But going back to how they actually dispatch children in this, it's kind of like, well, that's sort of what I meant by being traumatized, is that, hey, you're watching a movie about a cult that does this to children, and you actually do see some of the children suffer, which is, yeah, it's kind of like, that's intense. It is intense. And you if you're a normal person, that bothers you. It should bother you. But what's cool is that this is a sequel to The Shining, and we get this character, Danny Torrance, who is almost starting off the movie going down the path of his father, going off the path, resorting to a little bit of alcoholism and that kind of stuff. And eventually he straightens out and he finds his path. And the way that he gets his name, Dr. Sleep, is really cool. I like how they addressed that, and they made that kind of, not a central part, but it's kind of like, oh, that makes sense. I like that. That's cool. And something that else jumps out at you in this is that they've done a little bit of recastings. They recast his mother, Wendy Torrance, and they recast Halloran, Dick Halloran, who's played by Scatman Crothers. Beautiful role that he played. But in this one, he's played by a different character, different guy named Carl Lumbly. But, once you get past the fact that they're different people, these two people did a fantastic job. The acting is the best part about this movie, hands down. Hands down, the acting is fantastic. Who played his mother? His mother was played by Alex Esro, and she got the mannerisms of Shelley down really, really well. Just like the way that she was screaming and talking and she gets all flustered. I thought that was great. Okay, continuing on here with just, I'm not trying to spoil things here. I'm going to do a quick little spoiler recap video for this maybe after the movie comes out, because there are some things I do want to address. But what's cool about this is that they build up the cult so perfectly that they are menacing. It's kind of like, wow. And they're tracking these kids by their tracker, played by Zane McLaren. He's playing a character called Crow Daddy, but I recognize him from Bone Tomahawk. I saw him in Bone Tomahawk, and he was cool in that. Just a small little role. And in this one, he's just kind of like, he's got that menace to him where he's kind of like, he doesn't care, that he wants to go out and find these kids. Wow. It's just, they built up this cult perfectly, and you are rooting for Danny and his ability to shine, to combat them. And basically what happens is that this cult gets wind of this new, younger girl, who's got really, really strong powers to shine. She can reach across the country, more or less, and see where these people are, and she can make them do things, which is just really, wow, that was shocking to see. I felt like, who was it? Kyliegh Curran plays Abra Stone. She's the younger girl, Abra, and she's got these abilities. You see it in the trailers. And she's just very powerful. And there's this, like, they're coming for her. So Danny's trying to protect her from them. And Word is the only place that he can kind of like even the odds, because they have the numbers, is going back to the Overlook Hotel. And that's where I think a lot of people will have a little bit of some beefs with it, but for me, I thought it worked perfectly, because I'm going to tell you straight up, I've never read the books. I don't know. I know that the Shining movie deviated from the book so much that Stephen King didn't like it, which is kind of a bummer, because I think the Shining movie is one of the best horror movies ever made. And Jack Nicholson is iconic. And they do some cool things in this one, guys. They do some cool things when they go back to the hotel, which is kind of like nods and just like, okay, I like that. And it's just kind of like, I like this movie. And I have to give this a fairly high score. And that's pretty much where I'm just going to leave it. Here is the score sheet. It's an 8.5 out of 10 for Dr. Sleep. As I said, the acting is probably one of the best things. The score, the cinematography is fantastic. The score is perfect. It's got a lot of the heartbeat kind of thing going on at times. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, you're feeling that, because like a monster, these people are coming for the kids, and it's just kind of like, it's beautiful. And as I said, Rebecca Ferguson is perfect in this. Perfect. You're going to be mesmerized by her in this. And that's exactly, I think, what they were going for, is Rose the Hat. So 8.5 out of 10 for Dr. Sleep. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year, simply because of, as I said, my sentimental reasons. I think The Shining is one of my favorite movies, horror movies. I think it's one of the better horror movies ever made. I revisit a lot of the scenes. I revisit the movie on a regular basis. And this is a perfect follow-up. It's a perfect follow-up. It's kind of like cool to see what happened years down the line to Danny Torrance. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the top 5. There's the top 5 again. And I'm looking at this list, and I'm sorry, Godzilla, but you're out, and Dr. Sleep slides into the number 5 spot. My 5th favorite movie of the year so far, and we're almost done this year, guys. So I'm hoping everybody's trying to catch up, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the next little while, is just trying to catch up with all the movies I need to see before the end of the year to get a proper top 10 list out like everybody else does. But so far, as of right now, beginning of November, Dr. Sleep is my 5th favorite movie of the year. I just think it is the best horror for sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. YouTube is recommending a video for you to watch right there, and you can see my latest one just right up here. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domains. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe.